field of public affairs. 132 others were also honored with Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, and setting up debate discussion number one here on the Right Stand this Monday edition. Are all citizens in this country equal, or is one section more equal than the others? Do some sections require better representation in a level playing field that was denied to them in the past? Sure, some sections do need a helping hand of society. But that's the basis of also many quotas in our country. The Congress party in its manifesto now wants to ensure this affirmative action if they are voted to power. They have promised to redistribute wealth after a thorough survey, and that's the latest flashpoint between the Congress and the BJP. Addressing a rally in Rajasthan's Banswara on Sunday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hit out at the Congress over its wealth redistribution survey promise. He said that if any party, if voted to power, would distribute the country's wealth to infiltrators and those who have more children. He doubled down on that attack on Monday when he was addressing a public gathering in Aligarh. He made a reference to the Mangalsutra as a sign of a married Hindu woman. The Prime Minister said that the Congress wanted to sell even that and give it away to people they deemed fit. The Congress party, meanwhile, has taken strong objection to the comments made by the Prime Minister himself, even knocking on the door of the Election Commission to asking them to take cognizance and act. Listen in to the Prime Minister's allegations against the Congress party first up.
आपकी संपत्ति सरकार को हटने का अधिकार है क्या? क्या आपकी संपत्ति को, आपने मेहनत करके कमाई हुई संपत्ति को सरकार को ऐंठने का अधिकार है क्या? और पहले जब उनकी सरकार थी उन्होंने कहा था कि देश की संपत्ति पर पहला अधिकार मुसलमानों का है। इसका मतलब ये संपत्ति इकट्ठी करके किसको बांटेंगे? जिनके ज्यादा बच्चे हैं उनको बांटेंगे, घुसपैठियों को बांटेंगे, और उनको बांटेंगे जिनको मनमोहन सिंह जी की सरकार ने कहा था कि संपत्ति पर पहला अधिकार मुसलमानों का है। हमारी माताओं बहनों के पास सोना होता है। ये सोना अवसरों पर सिर्फ शरीर पर पहन करके प्रभाव पैदा करने के लिए नहीं होता है। हमारे देश में माताओं बहनों के पास जो सोना होता है, कितना ही कम क्यों न हो, वो स्त्री धन होता है, पवित्र माना जाता है, कानून भी उसकी रक्षा करता है। अब इनकी नजर कानून बदलकर हमारी माताओं बहनों की संपत्ति छीनने का भी खेल खेला जा रहा है। उनका मंगलसूत्र, उस पर उन लोगों की नजर है।
So that was the Prime Minister's comments, clearly little tempered between Sunday and Monday, but the focus very clear, doubling down on this aspect that the Congress's manifesto aims to snatch your wealth, take it away from you and redistribute to somebody else. Your money, your hard-earned wealth is going to be taken away from you by the government who's getting to get into your homes, understand every single naya paisa of wealth that you have and take it away from you and redistribute it towards those. And he put it out there. But is the Congress and its case strong? Or is the BJP's charge of appeasement valid? Let's try and get you some facts first. Here's why the Congress finds itself in a tricky position. There are at least two instances, one in the speech and one later in the letter, when the grand old party spoke of a survey and redistribution of wealth. The first is in the section of the Congress's manifesto released earlier this month. In the Nyaya Patra, the Congress has promised economic empowerment of minorities. They said they will strengthen the agenda for affirmative action and ensure that minorities get their fair share of opportunities in education, healthcare and employment, among others. Rahul Gandhi's remarks during his rally in Hyderabad gave the BJP further ammunition. He said He said that if voted to power, Congress will conduct a financial and institutional survey. So, we'll strengthen agenda, or for affirmative action, we'll distribute India's wealth to these sections. Kiski kitni sankhya bhari? He pitched that again. We'll ensure minorities receive their fair share, says the Congress's manifesto. Rahul says historic step to ascertain distribution of wealth. So, again, wealth will be distributed to various sections based on their numbers. Now, is this a historic step, or is it just going to commit harakiri? Taking somebody else's wealth, giving it to somebody else? Can the government do that via affirmative action, and what does affirmative action mean? Listen to what Rahul Gandhi had to say.
मैं आपसे सिर्फ ये कह रहा हूं, आप जग जाओ। आपको लूटा जा रहा है, 24 घंटे आपको लूटा जा रहा है और आप देखते जा रहे हो। मैनिफेस्टो में हमने क्रांतिकारी काम करना है। पहला काम जाति जनगणना, इससे सबकी गिनती हो जाएगी, सबको पता लग जाएगा किसकी कितनी आबादी। उसके बाद इकोनॉमिक सर्वे होगा, फाइनेंशियल सर्वे होगा, हिंदुस्तान की सब संस्थाओं का सर्वे होगा। सबको पता लग जाएगा हिंदुस्तान के धन में किसकी कितनी भागीदारी है।
Tom Bodakkan, national spokesperson of the BJP with us. Vivek Srivastava, leader of the CPI with us. Lokesh Jindal, political analyst, leans towards the Congress party with us. And Arun Anand, columnist and author with us. Namaste, Jai Hind. Thank you to everyone for joining us here on this edition of The Right Stand. My first question to Mr. Tom Bodakkan of the BJP. Tom Bodakkan ji, Prime Minister perhaps a tad too harsh? Is the Congress really going to snatch the wealth of the people?
Well, Anand, we are all in the communication business. When you address a rally, you have to communicate of the ground reality, the complexities of the committees and how it is to be distributed. The new marks on the block, Rahul Gandhi, has got it all mixed up. He talks about affirmative action. Now, let me plead his case. What does he mean by affirmative action? When he categorically says in Hyderabad that very categorically it deals, affirmative action is for everybody who is downtrodden. But this affirmative action is directed towards a minority. Now, that has also been, clarified in the chain of command when Dr. Manmohan Singh said that the Muslims have the first right on the resources. I mean, it is verbatim. It is not Prime Minister saying this. And what he has quoted is Manmohan Singh ji's quote. And he said, look, this distribution involves to people who have so many children. Now, that could be anybody. Now, the point remains, how do you go about this distribution? The litmus test, Ahmed, this is my view, can only be done if charity begins at home. And that is what the Congress party must do. The Congress Working Committee must declare their assets, their wealth, to a judicial committee that oversees the entire exercise with investigative power to begin with, and declare their wealth nationally, internationally, all kinds of wealth that they have accumulated over 70-80 years. If this is put on record and then start the process of redistribution of that wealth, we will be satisfied that this is they are setting an example. So Rahul Gandhi should start from home. I don't think Priyanka Vadra would agree to this. But anyway, the new marks that is on the block has decided to do that. So let them do the litmus test with themselves first and then experiment with the entire country. Because this exercise which they are talking about, if this is, you can call it Robin Hood kind of a system, but this is pure dacoity. You take wealth of somebody who has made it from sweat and blood. His property or whatever he has made is assessed by a third party and then distributed to whom? To people, like Manmohan Singh says, to a particular community. Now, is that acceptable? Is this part of democratic concept? Is this part of our constitution? I mean, these are the larger questions Rahul Gandhi must answer. Every time election comes, he says something, and then he knows because he is not going to come to power.
Right.
He can get away with it.
Okay, there is a larger, let Lokesh Jindal respond. Lokesh Jindal.
Well, I can understand the compulsion to defend these statements. However, if we consider the ground realities, we see that today 1% of India's richest, they control 40% of total resources of the country. And this is highest since 1961. 1961 it was 22%, and that was highest since 1922. So today, when we consider after 100 years, we see there is more and more income inequality. There is larger concentration of wealth in the hands of few, deprivation of basic amenities to a large section of society, and a gross social and economic justice. Please tell me, sir, where is Rahul Gandhi wrong? If you talk about the Indian Constitution, Article 38 of the Indian Constitution, it calls for social and economic justice. If talking about social and economic justice is wrong, if talking about a fair redistribution of resources in such a manner that there must be fair and equitable accessibility and consumption of wealth, then I mean, there's something wrong with your understanding of our constitution, and there's something that is fundamentally wrong with your understanding of idea of justice. And the remarks that have been made that the party is eyeing at Mangalsutra and all, that amounted to a severe violation of model code of conduct, and a position who's the Prime Minister of this country, the highest of all positions, stating in such a manner is deplorable, sir. That is something which cannot be justified in any manner.
Correct.
It amounts to a severe hate speech.
So, those who are saying that what the Prime Minister said amounts to a severe hate speech don't believe in practicing what they preach.
The Prime Minister of the country is occupying
I'm just
the
asking
constitutional...
those who are claiming this, they don't believe in practicing what they preach. So they can go ahead and say whatever they want. They can go ahead and do whatever they want, and they will not apologize, despite being oftentimes even held and sermonized by the courts themselves.
Anand,
And they can go ahead and say whatever they want, but somebody else should toe the line. They can go stand on the streets and say, call up whoever and say, because your name is this, you are in this place, and whoever is your owner, whatever based on that person's name, go ahead and brand that person whatever. And all of that is par for course.
Anand, we must condemn all such forms of statements.
I'm just asking you. No, I'm just asking you. Is there this whole aspect of let's practice what we preach? If you believe an equitable distribution of wealth, sir, should the party who's espousing it in its manifesto practice what it preaches? Is there an equitable distribution of wealth, and is there democratization of power even within the party itself, sir?
First of all, the equitable distribution of wealth has more to do with the policies of the government.
I'm asking, if you're trying to democratize the economy and democratize power and democratize control, is it democratized even within the Congress party? Is it even walking and talking its own, practicing what it preaches? Is a question that Mr. Tom Wadakan also asked. Let's just bring in Vivek Srivastava and Arun Anand. Arun Anand, this concept, sir, is neo-economists in the West. About 5 years ago, this was spoken about, where they wanted to democratize economy. What's the neo-left, the neo-liberals' answer to the capitalist form of economics? So after Karl Marx and Keynes, was there a newer thought process? And there is a group of economists who came together and said, let's democratize the economy also. Is this possible? And the way the Congress espouses it.
No, actually, it is not possible. You see, you tend to, it often happens, analysts like us tend to be very selective with data. And what we do, we try to basically manipulate data. Like my fellow panelist has quoted this 1% thing, but people often forget that 25 crore people have been brought above poverty line. And this is not the government of India data. This is the World Bank data. And India is absolutely free of acute poverty now. And inflation has largely been kept under control. The average GDP has grown tremendously. India is the third largest economy, and there is no trickle down effect. It's not the trickle down effect. There is a massive effect because the government has plugged in the leakages and the loopholes. So the direct benefit transfer schemes are benefiting the people directly. The problem with Congress party is that it is bereft of any ideology. And right since independence, it has been primarily basically, surviving on Muslim appeasement. So what Prime Minister has done, it is nothing new. If you look at the historic, evolution of things, right since the partition, when Congress surrendered to the radical elements in Muslim League, then you have seen the Shah Bano case, then you have seen in February 2014, just before they're going out of power, they tried to bring an anti-communal violence bill, which would have, wherever riots would have held, Hindus would have been held responsible. So there's nothing new. I think Congress, the problem with Congress is that now it is stretched between two extremes. One is the radical left and second is the radical, Islamization. So that's the problem which Congress is. And what Prime Minister has done, he has just repeated what Dr. Manmohan Singh has said.
Vivek Srivastav?
Yes.
I'm just going to read this. Just tell me whether you agree with this or not. Yeah. Okay. Once you've bought your yacht and private jet, there isn't more you can spend on. So let's just take that money and give it to somebody who does not have a yacht and a private jet. So today you've got enough to run your monthly households, pay your EMIs, and anything extra beyond that should not be yours. Let me take it from you and give it to somebody who does not have what you have. Are you willing to part with your hard-earned money like that?
I agree with this. Yes,
so you're willing to part with your hard-earned money?
It's not just a question of my willing to part.
So,
I'll tell you.
Like tomorrow the government will come back and say, you're wearing a shirt, already somebody does not even have a shirt. How are you wearing a jacket? Come on, give me your jacket, let me give it to the person who does not have a shirt.
Okay, now this is being very frivolous, Anand, but then it was very childish of Mr. Tom Wadekar to say, "Pehle Congress wala aakarke khada hokarke apne wealth ko de." This is not how systems work. He needs to study what communism is all about, what socialism is all about, how the models work, what Nehruvian economics was, and what this country was before 1991. When Dr. Manmohan Singh became the finance minister.
Yeah, unable to pay its bills, had nothing in its coffer, and liberalization was the only option. Otherwise, you would have been bankrupt overnight. That was the situation in 1991.
Let me speak.
So that model, how it worked, we saw.
Agreed. That is a different debate.
That is the debate.
That is the way you think. I may not think that way. I thought. Yeah, see, now the fact is that we are back into, the Congress wants Nehruvian economics to be back. That is what we feel. And we welcome the statement of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Okay, and as far as frivolous questions like Congress वाला अपना घर देगा कि नहीं देगा, विवेक श्रीवास्तव अपना घर देगा कि नहीं देगा, वो automatically होगा when the laws are made and laws are implemented.
You are saying you're all right if the Congress and the left make Bharat a police state. You're all right if the Congress and the left decide what every Bharatiya will do. We will make the way we draft the constitution, the way we make the laws, the way we decide to take everything from it is all perfect, because that's affirmative action in the interest of everybody else. Anybody else thinks of anything else is all Tanashahi, is all fascism and dictatorship.
Sir, please let me speak.
Yeah, please.
There is no concept of police state. It is the question of economic reforms. It is a question of socialism. It is a question of distribution of wealth. For example, I think everybody sitting on the panel knows how many houses can you own in Delhi in the name of one person. Please let me know. Is there a land ceiling act in this country or not? आप कितने खेत खरीद सकते हैं, Tom Wadekar? Please let me know. So it is already, many things are in place. The resources are limited and the concentration in only a few hands cannot be allowed. And if that starts happening the way it has happened since 2014 till date, when a few people are running the show, I mean the reverse has to start.
Have more number of people been alleviated out of poverty? Have more number of millionaires been created? Have more people become richer than poorer? Sir, that
Sir,
80 crore people,
no, I don't
the
agree.
grains
I don't agree
which are
because
being
80
stored
crore
in the
people in this
granary
country-
have been produced by Bharati only. It's
No,
not
sir,
by,
sorry.
it's not come by abracadabra and somebody
sir,
sitting there and
sir,
manufacturing their grains and filling up the
agree.
granary,
Anand ji.
right? So it's come from here and it's getting redistributed to
Bilkul
those
theek.
who don't need to spend money on those grains
no,
which
it
would
is
have
not.
either rotten.
It is not. It
which
is
would
not
have
been
rotten.
redistributed, sir.
It would have rotten.
Sir, 80 crore people had to be fed by the government of India.
Sir,
80 crore people got the ration from the government of India.
You are anyway deciding to do
What
the same
poverty
thing.
line are we talking about? What about the hunger index?
So
What
when
about
you
the
say
happiness index?
redistribute
What about the
wealth,
standard
when
of
you say
living?
when you say redistribute wealth, that's not taking money from a few handful of
Yes.
few crores of people and distributing to a larger crore of people. So that's great economics. But if there is food
No,
that's
it is
rotting
an
in our
entire-
granary
it is an
and that's
entire
feeding
economic
those
model.
people who don't need to spend money on food, but that money is spent on their other lives and increasing, uplifting them from taking them
Sir,
out of
it
multidimensional
was
poverty.
given-
That's
it was-
poor economics.
No, the food
that's,
was given-
That's a government
the
having
food-
to feed the people.
No.
Government will make laws to take money from the people and
government has to
redistribute
feed the
that
people
money.
because
That's
the
all
people
right.
are not employed.
But government is distributing food that's rotting in our granaries. That's poor. That's
If the
absolutely
people had
bad
jobs,
policy.
you don't have to feed them, you can export.
Sir,
If
here you are
people
not
had- if
creating
people
jobs.
had
You are
don't have
saying
to feed
people
them.
who have jobs, who
You
are
can
earning
export
good
the
money, you are
grains.
taking the
You
money
can
from
export
them
the grains.
and giving it to those people who don't have
Sir,
jobs.
आप रेशन को एक्सपोर्ट करिए ना. Sir, if 80 crore people in this country don't have jobs and they can't buy their own food,
So
it is shameful for the government.
should people
And in
be
case
fed in
they
our
were in a
country,
position
given
to
food
do it,
security
you could have
and
exported the same
alleviated out
grains
of
out.
hunger, and the government and then you're saying no. On the one hand, you're saying redistribute wealth. On the other hand, you're
No, but
arguing that
I
the
agree.
government should create
Fine.
more
So
wealth
we all
by
agree with
exporting
what
all the
Rahul
food
Gandhi says.
outside.
So agreed.
No,
So
you
that
are
means-
saying, you are
that
saying,
means
you are
also
saying,
agreeing with what Rahul
you are
Gandhi
saying,
says.
you are saying, I am saying you have a problem with distributing food and you are criticizing the government. On the other hand, you are saying I'll take all your money and I'll
No.
hold it and I'll decide who should get it. That's all right. What logic are you using, sir?
It is a question of taxation.
Sir, this never. Sir, the history.
There has to be an equal distribution of
Vivek ji,
resources
sometimes-
with all the citizens in the country.
See, it's okay to try and confuse and it's.
आप भी राहुल गांधी से agree कर रहे हैं तो अच्छी बात है।
सर, मैं किसी से एग्री कर रहा हूँ, डिसएग्री कर रहा हूँ, मैं लॉजिक पूछ रहा हूँ। जो फंडे आप एस्पाउस कर रहे हैं 1947 से 1997 1990 हम लोग भिखारी हो गए थे सर. The government had to liberalize.
नहीं sir,
We had to change the economic model so that we could stand up on our feet. That's exactly what's happened. You espouse the same model and we know what happened. History is documented. Sir, don't try and make it BJP. 60 years, large part of it. Sir, large part of it till the time the 90s happened, sir, till the time liberalization happened, there was no BJP in power. There was no BJP in power. Arun Anand wants to come in. Arun Anand, 1 minute. Arun Anand wants to come. Arun Anand and then.
It's very ironical that the left-back trade unions were the one who destroyed, or who were the major stumbling block in terms of India building a manufacturing base. And hence, there was a problem of job creation. And now, those who are the votaries of the left, so now they are crying hoarse about jobs not being created. So one is that. Second is that, look at what left did to West Bengal when they were in power. Look at how they destroyed the, industrial base there. It was one of the biggest industrial bases in the South Asian region. And in 20 years time, they completely wiped it out, and West Bengal has not been able to recover from that. So they should not be talking about broadly. And if you look at the job creation data, look at the EPFO numbers, the Employee Provident Fund account numbers. More than 2 crore accounts have been added over the last 2-3 years. So how these accounts have been added? Of course, the jobs have been created, then it has been added.
And not just that, Lokesh Jindal, who would you want to trust? Somebody who tells you that I will create an environment for you to earn your money, work hard and you make money and you grow rich and I'll allow you to make your money. Or somebody who turns around and stands there and says, don't worry, when we come to power, I'll put 1 lakh rupees into your account. On what basis, from where?
Anand, you're performing a wonderful job as an anchor. And as with time, there is a rate at which we are all earning money. Imagine a scenario where a very hard-working individual puts in the best of the skills, abilities, time, everything, and gets something very meager. And then there is another individual with all forms of crony tools at their disposal. And the amount of wealth that they appropriate is way far more, hundreds and thousands and lakhs of times more than what my dear friend Anand earns. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Now, when I talk about justice, a common man over here, he asks a question.
That's
Why
not justice,
this
sir.
form of
That's not
disparity?
justice, sir. That's not justice, Lokesh Jindal. Justice will be when you create opportunity for merit to thrive. You create opportunity for merit. You don't decide that I will take money from somebody because he's got more of it, and I'll go and give it to somebody who's got less of it, because that's how my sense of justice is. Sir, sense of justice has to be when you give me a form of governance and government that gives me opportunity, that gives merit that opportunity. It does not accord quotas based on kiski kitni sankhya bhari. It affords opportunity based on kiski kitni kabiliyat bhari. That's what, sir. That's where the basic problem is, sir. You have to create a situation where no sir, you are trying to create a model of a socialist model versus capitalist model. I am saying in Bharat, sir, you create an environment where merit thrives, not quotas. Merit thrives, not inferior. Sir, you are creating a situation where some people will sit together and decide who should get what money and who should not earn how much, because I think so. That's what the law, that's how the law will be designed.
With respect to life expectancy, with respect to mean years of schooling, with respect to other parameters.
Sir, you promise to create world-class schools. You create an infrastructure where you create world-class teachers. You create an environment where you are able to create opportunity for entrepreneurship so that more jobs are created, and you give people who have trained, skilled, and you give an environment where people can earn their hard-earned money, sir. You don't give doles to anybody.
You increase in social sector spending.
No, sir.
What is the overall expenditure in education?
You need to create an opportunity. That you don't tell by telling the wealthy, I'm going to take away your wealth. No, sir. You don't tell the successful. You don't tell the Kabil and the Kamyab. You create more Kabil people, sir. Kamyabi apne aap aayegi. You are trying to take away money from the Kamyab and say, how dare you be Kamyab and how dare you be Kabil? Yes, one minute. Tom Wadakan. But this whole thing about Ghuspetiya, this whole thing about kiske kitne zyada bacche hain, who is deciding that? Now are we knowing that? Now, so is the BJP now saying, all right, if the Congress is going to play an overt game of appeasing Muslims, we are going to go and tell the Hindus, tum khatre mein ho. Is that the game the BJP is going to play now?
This is not about creating insecurity for any community. This is about the illegal migrants that have come. Globally, there's a huge issue with illegal migrants. When they change the demography of a particular state, region, you have to create new economic indices for them. And in that process, development takes the backseat. What is happening in variety of states like West Bengal, the inflow of these illegal immigrants have to be controlled. But what is happening there is encouragement of these illegal migrants. I am not mentioning any caste community. Let me complete this. This is a burden on the economy. The Prime Minister was trying to make it very clear that you are not going to distribute wealth of this nation to illegal migrants. Full stop.
Sir, in that case, sir, we already have nearly 4 crore estimates submit. How are you going to weed out these 4 crore and how are you going to stop any more from coming in? That's a job that the internal security mechanism of our country, the government at the center has to ensure that our borders are no longer porous, and if anywhere dares to enter illegally, they are shot down.